In 1994, a quiet neighborhood in Phoenix, Arizona, became the center of one of the strangest phone call mysteries ever documented. It began with a woman named Dorothy Collins and a voice she never thought she'd hear again, a voice that belonged to her son, who had been dead for 8 years. Dorothy's son, Danny Collins, died in a car accident in 1986. He was 19 years old. His death shattered her completely. For years, she couldn't bring herself to change a single thing in his room. His posters remained on the wall. His clothes stayed folded in the drawers. And an old tin rotary phone still sat on his nightstand, unplugged since the day he died. Dorothy lived alone after that. She spent many nights awake, often wandering through the house just to feel less lonely. But nothing could prepare her for what happened at 2:12 a.m. on a cold October night. Her house phone rang. At first, she assumed it was a wrong number. But when she answered, the voice on the other end said something that froze her blood. "Mom, it's me." Dorothy dropped the phone. She recognized the voice instantly. It wasn't similar. It wasn't close. It was identical to Danny. His tone, his breathing, the soft, nervous swallow between words. A mother knows her child's voice. She knew hers. She slowly picked the phone back up and whispered, "Danny?" The voice responded, "I'm okay, Mom. I can't stay long." Dorothy later described the sound as muffled, like he was speaking through a thick layer of static. It didn't sound like a normal phone call, more like a distant transmission trying to push through interference. She asked him where he was. There was a pause, and then he said 6 words that still haunt people who study this case. "It's warm here, but not bright." Before she could ask another question, the line cut out. Dorothy immediately contacted the phone company. She demanded to know where the call came from. The operator checked. The call had originated from a number that had been disconnected for years. The telephone company claimed it was impossible for that number to place a call, yet the timestamp and log confirmed it. Word spread quickly. Neighbors came to check on Dorothy, and she repeated the message out loud. Many of them had known Danny since he was a child. When she imitated the voice, several said the same thing. That sounded exactly like him. A week later, researchers from a nearby university heard about the story and asked if they could install audio equipment in Dorothy's home. They believed the first call might have been a glitch, but they wanted to be sure. 7 days after the first call, the phone rang again. Dorothy answered immediately. "Mom," the voice whispered, "they won't let me talk." Dorothy asked who they were, but the voice didn't answer. It only added, "Tell them I'm not lost." And then it stopped. This time, investigators traced the call more precisely. What they found was even more unsettling than the first discovery. The call came from inside Dorothy's house, specifically from Danny's old bedroom. But the phone in that room had been unplugged for 8 years. The cord was still disconnected when officers checked. Investigators tore apart the wiring in the home. They checked for crosstalk, interference, line bleed, anything that could have caused a false signal. A senior technician with over 20 years of experience inspected the house. Everything was normal. There was no technical explanation for that call. Over the next several months, Dorothy received more calls. Sometimes the voice sounded calm. Sometimes it sounded scared. But it was always Danny's voice. One of the calls said, "Mom, don't worry. I'm not alone." Another said, "I didn't feel pain." And another time, she asked him, "Where are you calling from?" Danny responded, "I'm trying to find the light." The calls were brief. They were unpredictable. And every single one traced back to numbers that were disconnected or to the unplugged phone in his room. Dorothy recorded several messages and sent them to independent audio analysts. One expert created a voice print, a visual analysis of vocal frequencies and patterns, and compared the calls to a confirmed recording of Danny from 1984. The match was more than 98% accurate, higher than what most adults score when comparing 2 recordings of themselves years apart. When asked to explain how a disconnected phone could transmit a signal, the analyst simply said, "I can't." Eventually, late one night, Dorothy received one final call. This time the voice sounded calm, peaceful. "Mom, I'm going now. Don't worry." She begged him to stay. She begged for answers, but the call faded into silence. And after that night, the phone never rang again. Years later, the case remains unsolved. Telecommunication experts say it's impossible. Skeptics say it must have been grief. Believers say it may have been something else, something we don't yet understand. A mother's love is powerful, but this story raises a chilling question. Can love create a bridge between two worlds, even after death? What do you think really happened that night?